Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 50 of the Town Social, a bit of the milestone episode. Great to see you all. What better, more fitting way to have our 50th episode than to dissect two disappointing performances, as is the Town way. Nothing changes, does it, since the series started, really. But anyway, guys, joining us tonight is Gas K and Kilroy, Tristan Camel and Sean O'Toole. Guys, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. As always, get your comments in. Get your questions in. If there's anything you want to ask, or any talking points you want to raise, we'll do our best to bring them up and talk about them. I want to get you involved as much as possible. And we're going to start by talking about the Coventry game. Obviously, Huddersfield Town 1, Coventry City 3. And oh dear, I mean, where do we start, guys? I think the last episode we did was after the Leeds game, and we're all quite positive. We'd had two decent results there, and it was looking really promising under Brighton Writer. Then we had some really disappointing. I mean, the Cardiff away game was as dour a game as you're ever going to see in your life. The West Brom game, we had one good half, I thought, followed by abysmal second half. And then the Rotherham game, I tweeted it was pathetic, really. Against a side that were essentially cannon fodder, shipping goals left, right, and centre. I think they'd lost 9 on the bounce. And I know we had a guy sent off, but you've got to win them games. So then you were going into the Coventry game after the break, and you're thinking, well, look, he's had time. He's had a couple of weeks to get his ideas across for the first time. Maybe, get some partnerships going, work on a few different ideas. And I thought Coventry just blew us away, really. I mean, we did have a couple of decent chances, but if we get to the first goal, Ellick with Sims, he stands off him too much. To be fair, I think it's a really good finish, to be fair, into top corner from a really good player. I think Ellick should get closer to him, but the second goal, so poor to concede. And when you're 2-0 down, we're never, considering we only score one goal a game on average, we're never going to come back to do anything. We brought a striker on, and lo and behold, we offered a little bit more threat going forward, and we had a few chances. I think Karoma in the first half hit a post, really good effort. It was unlucky. I think it was Radoni at the bar with a really good move, probably the best move we had of the game. We only really got back though from a mistake from Coventry, playing it prattling about across the back like what we used to do under Corbrun. We got a goal back, but then, as we usually do, we bomb forward and just leave gaps, and they exploited it. And I thought it was a game that really showcased the difference between a team that can finish and a team that can't. They took their chances, we didn't, and I just think they were a more cohesive team, a team on the up, and I think we're obviously a team that's struggling for quality in the final third.
Well, I only got to enjoy the first half of the Coventry game because I was don't want to brag, but I was just about to get on a plane and fly somewhere. So thanks, Ian. So I saw the first half, and you're right. I mean, it proper carried off from where Rotherham left off for me. I thought that they looked nervous. Seems to be a bit of a common theme again that we're giving teams easy chances. That first goal of Sims, it's a bit of a worldie because it goes right, it goes right into top bins, doesn't it? But I mean, Ellick's defending was absolutely abysmal for that. And although we actually had, when you looked at the stats, I had a quick look before, we had 44% possession. We actually had more shots, believe it or not, than Coventry. I have to be honest, that and the highlights I saw, it looked like men against boys. Coventry were organised. We couldn't cope with their centre midfield. And Ellis, who at the beginning of the season looked like a flop, didn't it? They paid a lot of money for him, Coventry, and he just couldn't get going. And now he really is in a vein of form, and they're almost nailed on for being in and around the playoffs. And it was a really poor game. The only positive I can find is Healy at least came on, one chance, one goal. So that's a positive. And that then, of course, made Monday our 97th must-win game of the season. I think every game since January has been a must-win game. Yeah, we don't seem to want to win any of them, which is slightly frustrating. And I thought Stoke was probably a bit of a better showing, but the change in the lineup helped. I thought the change of formation helped. Mr. Four at the back, Kilroy, will probably highlight the fact that that definitely helped because we played 10 or 15 yards further up, didn't we? But again, he put Thomas on the left-hand side. What the fuck's that all about? The guy he's no good on the left. He's a waste. He needs to be on the right. He's not a winger that cuts inside and lashes one in the top corner with his right foot. And I thought for the first 15, 20 minutes, Stoke really had us on the rack a bit. But we got into the game, and I actually thought Bojan grew a bit. I thought he looked really soft at first and was going to the ground really easily, and then started to play a bit more and link up some of the play. And his goal was an absolute beauty. Cracking, I think it was a shot by Radoni, picks up his own shot, lovely pass to, was it Matos, I think, or Kasumu, and then one of them just slid him in and he stuck it in the bin. So, that was really good. And we've been unlucky as well with that disallowed goal. It took me 5 minutes to work out why the goal from the corner was disallowed. And then in the second half, we started okay. And then same as against Coventry, that goal really, when you look at it, if you're a Stoke fan, you're saying that's a worldie. But, I mean, it was a piece of, he just danced past. Thomas jumped and half turned his back, like school kids do. And he just took 2 steps inside and had all the time in the world. And I have to be honest, for a while, I thought there was only going to be one winner, and I didn't think it was us. But we actually showed a bit of fitness towards the end of the game, which is the first time I've seen it since before Moore came in. And, we actually, we finished the stronger side. And I'm sure somebody's going to debate whether Bergzorg is the devil incarnate now, because he didn't pass to Healy. He hates Healy and he wants him to die or something. I don't really know, but there seems to be a lot of fuss about the fact he didn't pass the ball to Healy. And we did have 89 other minutes, by the way, and we were crap for most of it. So, we took a point. If we take 3 off Millwall, that's a really valuable point. If we don't, it's an absolute waste, and it's another chance that's gone begging. And it now leaves us 3 points from 6 games. Haven't won in 7. So I'm struggling. Other than the Bergzorg goal, other than the Bojan goal and the Healy goal, I'm struggling to find out positive from them 2 games.
Yeah, I just picking up back on Coventry game. I think, to me, we and I'm sure Ian will kind of probably build on this, but we look about 20 yards to deep. It's a nothing ball down the line. As a kind of teenager, I got taught in defence, anything that's kind of deeper than the 18-yard box, you're showing them kind of down the line and to the corner. And he's shown him twice in 2 games. We've shown the player into the box, and they've thought, I'll have a crack, and they've put it in top corner. Now, yeah, absolutely, they are very good goals, but we're talking about, as you've alluded to, a lad that's come from Everton that they've paid 9 million for, and a lad that's come from Liverpool that was meant to be the next best thing. They're no mugs, and so it's Billy basic stuff. It's individual errors. To me, Helik don't look fit, I'll be honest with you. And the second goal, if you watch the second goal, there's a bit of rub of the green. I think there's a header back upfield. Matos kind of gets a bit of a touch on it, goes round the lad. He body checks him. And if you look at their third goal, O'Hare gets body checked in middle at Park, gets a free kick, they play the free kick and they go and score. So there's a bit of rub of the green there. But that second goal, ball goes into midfield. He kind of bundles it past Hogg. He bundles it past Bolker. And for the pace that I've seen Bolker has, he then ambles back. The ball goes down the line. It comes into the box. And Hogg and Bolker were running back. And Hogg is beating Bolker back. To me, that individual errors are just costing us. The desire seems to have gone a bit. They seem kind of, there's a lack of confidence, but I think there's also, you've got to ask them, is there any pride there, in your own performance? And some of that for me is just where we're letting ourselves down. And then, we're then having to score more than one goal to be in a game or to win a game, sort of thing. And away at places like Stoke, you don't need to be trying to go and win a game with 2 or 3 goals, So I think there's some real basic stuff. I think we did look better against Stoke, and I think we did play better higher up the pitch. I think Kasumu's probably the best option in midfield with one of Hogg or Matos. There was a spell where obviously he didn't play Matos. There's just a bit of a headless chicken there with him to some extent. Sometimes he does some real good stuff. He did a job on Joe Bellingham against Sunderland. So it seems when he's tasked with a with an actual purpose in the game, it can really turn out a good game. But we're just, I think we're losing the battle in midfield a little bit, and I think then, you know, we're relying on Radoni, we're relying on Sorba Thomas, we're relying on Bergzog to come up with these kind of opportunities, and then when they don't take them, you know, it's, well, the internet folds, doesn't it? You know, it's just ridiculous. We've got a fan base that's beyond belief, to be quite honest with you. It's pathetic, to be honest. So I think it's best left there.
You're really not on board, are you, Tristan, with the fans speaking out against the performances at the moment, are you, man? You must be one of the few people that aren't on board, because I just thought in both games there were things you could see that, to me, spells relegation at the end of the season. The biggest issue I had with the Coventry game was that they started the game 18 points in front of us. So just take away FA Cup semi-final. Okay, it's a cup competition. They've done really well. They're only 18 points ahead of us. And now, watching that game, it looked like they were top 4 Premier League side for that first half, I thought, until we shifted back to that back four. I thought they looked so much better than us, yet on paper prior to the game, they shouldn't be. I'm very outspoken with my hatred of the back five, not just in general, but because of the players that Town have. I just don't think we can dominate possession and create enough chances by doing it. I think it keeps, like you say, Tristan, so deep all the fucking time, and I just don't like it. And as soon as we did swap to that 4 at the back in the Coventry game, we did look much better, but we actually started all right. Koroma should have put us 1-0 up. He didn't. And because of that, Coventry have gone up the other end. Like you say, Tristan, Helix, why is he not showing the byline? Show him the byline, let him cross it, trust your centre-backs or your other full-back covering to get rid of the ball and just restart, right? But he's bit in, and you don't expect mistakes like that from Michael Helic. You don't expect it from Helic. He shouldn't be making that error, but he did. It's a world-eater finish, apparently. To me, it's not. It's an easy shot when your defenders jumped in like that. Okay, it looks fantastic, but you just have to curl it into the corner. Yes, some of them miss. But these guys are professional athletes, training day in, day out. Chances like those for players like Sims are about as straightforward as you get. We can't make mistakes like that, but we do continuously over and over again. Instead of being 1-0 up, we're 1-0 down. Coventry look like they're absolutely cruising. We had no midfield. We had absolutely no way to kind of get any kind of stamp on the game. It drove me mental. I was sat with Matt from Takes That Chance throughout that game, and we kept kind of stopping the game in our heads in moments, looking at how many midfielders we had. And honestly, throughout that first half, you could count the back 5 defenders. Then they were like Johnny Ogg, who kind of did nothing, didn't really pick anyone up. I think it's his fault because I don't think he's quite at it anymore. But there's just such a big gap then between him and the strikers, and everyone's on a front 4 line in front of him. There was nothing in the midfield, so there's no way we're going to build up any kind of play when there's just nobody there. Casey Palmer looked fantastic against us. He ran the show, he got it and just kept driving it forward, and we couldn't get anywhere near him. I find that first half, particularly Eugenio Balka, looked really weak and soft. I expected more from him. I think he's good on the ball and he drives out well from the back, but he's soft again on second goal. Him and Og made a bit of a balls up on it after Casey Palmer's driven through. Headley, to me, isn't ready for the Championship week in, week out. He's defensively very frail. The ball over the top of him, he's out of position all the time, and he just doesn't kind of bite into that challenge as much as I want him to. It's just little things like this just weren't there, and we swapped to that 4-2-3-1. I thought Radoni were quite busy, actually. He runs a lot of the ground. He runs over a lot of ground every game, but he's having to do it on his own because there's no one there supporting him. I think when Ben Wiles is in the starting lineup, he kind of has that same issue when Johnny Ogg's playing next to him. He's got to run a lot more than most other centre midfielders do in the division because we just don't have any ball players in the middle. Second half were better, but Coventry just, to me, felt like didn't even have to try. They were casual, knowing the game was in the pocket. They've got a semi-final coming up. They're not going to risk any injuries. They just cruised it. As soon as we scored from, again, them being really casual at the back, nice bit of work from Wiles and Healy. And to be fair with Healy, I was disappointed he didn't start on Monday. I understand Brighton Wright said he's not fit enough. He's only got 30, 40 minutes in him or whatever. But I thought he looked really promising. And going on to Millwall this weekend, and after that, I hope he really can kind of stamp his authority on that 9 role, because I don't know if Danny Ward will be about again with his back injury. He might not be playing for us again. But it was just the Coventry game. It felt like Coventry, as soon as they couldn't come under any sort of pressure, stepped up a gear. We couldn't live with them. They made Brodie Spencer look like a bit of an idiot for that third goal. What happened there was we had an attacking throw. We're chasing the game 2-1. Spencer's ended up playing the ball back to Nichols, and now the fans started booing it. And to me, it looked like Spencer lost his head a little bit. Nichols hit it long. The header came back. Brody Spencer went to head it again. You can see him just a bit frustrated. Came back to him. He headed it again. It works its way around Coventry. He just looked frustrated. And then who got the third goal for him? I can't remember exactly who it was. Was it Haji Wright?
Yeah.
Well, he just stood him up, and Brody Spencer's he's dived in. And you do that because you're frustrated. You're pissed off losing. You're pissed off at what's just happened. He's dived in. He showed his inexperience. And again, they've put it away. First half, Karoma's 1-on-1 after a mistake where the Coventry lads fallen over. We don't take that chance, right? End of the game, 2-1, chasing the game. Brody Spencer makes one little mistake. They score. That's the difference. Coventry were clinical. We aren't. We could have got something out of that game. Kasuma was at the post. It'd have been totally undeserved. But Stoke was the same. All these games where we're kind of grabbing a point or just snatching a defeat when, to be fair, we should have really earned something. No other team does that. They all seem to get a win or a draw. And that's why we find ourselves, is it 8 wins all season? Is it 8 wins all season at this point, not winning 6? And this is why, though, because these particular moments in games keep going against us. And some other podcasters put it down to the team underperforming. To me, I don't think the team's good enough. I think it's happening because the players aren't good enough. Confidence has eroded over the course of the season, and now things are just going against us. Stoke, I actually thought we weren't that bad. The first half was particularly good to me. I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was one of the best 45. Apart from West Brom at home, that was fantastic, wasn't it? When I think we more or less played off back for 45 minutes and then got totally Corberand in that second half. Was it home or away? I can't remember. But that first half against Stoke, to me, was a professional away performance. I was surprised Radulevic's come in. We spoke about him a lot on here, thinking he's too lightweight and not going to be ready for the Championship. I thought he was really good in the first half. And it takes a lot to admit I'm wrong for myself, but here I am. I was wrong on Bojan. I didn't think he could have any input into how this season would play out for Town, but based on that first 45 minutes, his goal was good. His goal was really, really good. Rodoni did some amazing work after Radulovic won a header from a long ball. When was the last time we had a striker that won long ball headers every time? It doesn't really happen. Obviously, he's a long way off winning every single one of them, but he won it. Rodoni drove it, shot, missed, recollected the ball. The desire's there from him, plays a nice ball back. Guys, did you say it was who did you say it was? Matos or?
Was it Matos or Kusumo? I'm not sure.
No, it was neither. It was Headley. It was Headley.
Yeah.
It was Headley that played it in. Yeah, so just lazy there, guys. I wanted to pick you up on that one because I missed it myself as well. And I also thought it was Matos. But Kusumo dummies the ball, leaves it, and it goes through to Headley, who plays an amazing ball. It's not a simple pass that he's played in there. It's not quite a reverse, but it's just a simple little. He didn't show the Stoke defenders that's what he was going to do, but when he did it, Radulevic's got a lot to do. But cool, man, a cool guy to say he's not played properly since October. To turn to around 2 players, top corner, that's a class strike to me. That's better than Sims. What he did there was cool under pressure when he hadn't scored for us before this season, and he got it done.
Let's not get too giddy. He was the Serbian Colin Quaner last time I spoke to you. Now all of a sudden he's a Championship.
I can admit when I'm wrong, guys. It takes a big man. I'm a big 5'10" to be able to admit. I didn't think he had it in him this season, but he did, and he looked good.
So, let's be honest, that just shows about how reliable you are. You're 5'8" and everybody's money.
All right, I'll still win an header, guys. I'll win those headers all day long. Don't worry about that. But what pissed me off in the Stoke game there is we had Matty Pearson that put us ahead really after 10 minutes. We should have been ahead earlier on, apart from Pat Jones. He's looking goalkeeper. I absolutely have no idea what the fuck he's doing. It was really good when he came on a little cameo role against Coventry. He runs direct to goal. I think there is a player there. But then he's just stood. He's just stood on goalkeeper. Matty Pearson's won an amazing header. But Pat, just let go, man. Let go. Get out of there. That's going in anyway. It might be close to the keeper, but there was so much power on it. I don't think he'd have stopped it anyway. It was a right nice little header. But Pat Jones has done something. And again, moments like that, just stupid switch-off moments. First half, fantastic. First 5 minutes of the second half, we're having a good go at it. We'll look good, and then Sorba Thomas decides to not give a shit about defending. Stuff that. I'll just dangle a leg out. It looks like I'm trying. Like you say, Tristan. Again, Hellick did it against Coventry. What is Sorba Thomas doing, man? What? Don't bother sticking a leg out like that, man. Kasuma was also at fault, though. There was a little 1-2 before it went to Hoover. And Kasumu could have got himself back up and into shape. Yeah. To me, when you're a centre midfielder, Sorba Thomas has got a 1-on-1 against a winger. You know he might beat him. You know Sorba Thomas can't defend, even if he does try properly. Kasumu should have been there stopping that kind of cutting in a shot, especially after we got fucked over by it on Friday. But he doesn't. Again, 2 players to me have made a mistake there. We work hard to get 1-0 up. We have to because we're not as good, I don't think, as other teams in our division. But instead of just defending it and protecting that 1-0 lead, we're sloppy. We're sloppy, and to me, that's a mental rot that's going to be really difficult to turn around before the end of the season. We still kind of went at it, which was a nice adaptation. I thought Healy was all right when he came on, and he was pissed off that we didn't win the game in the end. But at least compared to Rotherham, where we were kind of happy to walk away with a point, which I wasn't happy with at that moment in time, Brighton Wright has at least had a go at Stoke. But we went into that game, Stoke were 22nd in the form table for home form. They're not good at home. We've had all these winnable games, and we've got 5 out of 6 upcoming games that I think are winnable by Ipswich on the last game of the season. But how long can we continue to go into game after game after game, saying it's a must-win, not winning, and then following up with another draw or another like this is the problem. This season, to me, is slipping away from us a little bit, and Stoke and Coventry games like epitomised in different ways where it's all falling apart. I just think
I would say
confidence has gone against us. Sorry, guys, confidence has gone, and I think mentally some players just don't seem to be at where they were not long ago.
It's about that and it's about that. But sorry, Sean. I've got a lad that works with me who's a Stoke, massive Stoke, and on the commentary it said that they'd not taken a point after going behind at home all season. I want to check with him. It's actually December 2022 was the last time they came from behind to take a point at home. That's how long it is when they've got. That's how fragile they were. That they couldn't remember the last time they went behind and pulled anything back. Never mind a win, a point. Yet we were fragile enough to allow them back into the game.
That's I think the Stoke game. It was a horrible watch for me. I think the quality was so poor. I mean, I don't know what standard that was, but you could see the nerves in all 22 players. You could see that it was a big game for both teams. And our team were passing the ball straight out for throw-ins, doing slide ball rules out for dead balls. You know, it was sloppy. And it just showed, like I said, that was an ample opportunity for us to get 3 points. I honestly believe if everybody's firing, we keep saying this, but I honestly thought that we could got 3 points against Stoke on Monday. And we held in there. Killer, you're right. In the first half, I felt like we did okay. We took the initiative, shall we say? But then I felt like in the second half we didn't push on. I felt like we had a little bit of a huff and a puff, and then we just like fell off the cliff at our mark and went really quiet. And like you said, we started losing the midfield battle as we keep doing, and they were turning us around like you wouldn't believe. And really, if they could finish, they would have had the game done by 75 minutes. But because they're as poor as we are, they didn't. And then, yes, we did come on, I wouldn't say strong. We started to have a bit of a go towards the last quarter of the game, but then it was too little too late. It all comes down to quality, and without being too doom and gloom about it. And, you know, I've heard it in podcasts prior to this one, and I've listened to you guys. We're not good enough. It's simple as that. If we stay up this season, I honestly think there's going to be a lot of luck around it, because I think with them last 6 fixtures, you know, the 3 home games, Millwall, Swansea and Birmingham, they're the ones that we need to win. But they're not guaranteed. You know, they're down there with us as well. And as we know, when you're in a relegation fight, the old saying is to beat the teams around you, and we're not doing that. We go to Rotherham, you know, it was all piled on one game there, maybe didn't win it. We go to Stoke. If everybody's firing, we're a better team than Stoke. We didn't win it. Yes, it's better to draw than lose. But what is it now? 15, 16 draws or something we've had this season. We're not breaking away. So, yeah, I'm really worried, to be honest. Like, I feel that we find ourselves in this sort of uncomfortable position, you know, ever since we came down from Premier League, really, where, you know, is this the season? And it's sad, really, that we have to have these conversations that we're one of them teams that we're just always round the bottom. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about it, to be honest. I do feel that there's just a real lack of quality there. We've got a team of lads that are either too young to play at that level. I mean, we're lucky and fortunate with Radone. What a grafter he is. I mean, he's like he's qualified in first year of a 3-year apprenticeship. He's come on so quickly, and he's comfortable on the ball. He hasn't got pace, but he's got a good footballing brain, and he started to add a few goals, and he'd be one we'd need to keep. But generally, other than that, you think of like, I don't know, even players you haven't seen for a while, Ruffles, Turton, even Wiles hasn't really taken off. Diarra, Ward, Headley. I mean, if you mentioned these names a few seasons ago, they wouldn't even get near bench. But now we're relying on these guys to get us results, and we're struggling imminently, aren't we?
It's like Groundhog Day, mate. It's same shit, isn't it? We have. Is it like 10 out of the last 12 seasons we've struggled down at bottom? So it's just exactly the same season after season. We're saying the same things. The team ain't good enough. It's not finishing. It's not. It's the same things that's coming up time after time after time, and it stems from lack of investment in the squad all the time and relying on players, hoping they'll come good, and they never do.
The thing is, Nick, there's also just to jump in here quickly. We haven't mentioned Bergzorg's performances over the last two games because he was good.
Mate, yeah.
All right, okay, Nick, I'll let you go. But he was good. That's the thing. It's not just that people have like not been replaced or whatever, but there seems to be a deterioration of players as we go.
I like Bergzorg. I thought, it's a bit of a. He's uncanny. He's a bit unpredictable. He's a bit of a character. When he first came, you thought, God, this lad could be the spark that sees us stay up, because you think he's just going to pull a goal out of somewhere. You just blink and he's done a Rabona or something and chip the keeper from 20 yards. You don't know what he's going to do, and he looked really lively. And I don't know what's happened with him. He has dropped off big time. You're right there, and it's like I say, it comes down to mentality. And there's a few lads out there, and they look a bit drained, to be honest. Like Hellick with that goal at Coventry, he'd never usually do that. Be so slow out to a man like that, and just half-heartedly puts a foot out for, was it Sims? And similar with Sorba Thomas. I mean, he's a bit lazy anyway, Sorba, but he's one of our better players. But similar thing with him with goal at Stoke. It's them moments where you've got to stay concentrated. You're in a relegation, you're playing for your shirt, and it's them little bits, they're going against us, unfortunately, at this moment in time.
That's why we've had so many draws, though, isn't it? That's why we've had 16 draws and only won 8 games. We only need to have won 3 more of those 16 and win 11 games, and we'd be safe now.
How many points have we thrown? Like QPR away, games like that where you just if it just shows.
Town have lost, Nick, 22 points from winning situations so far this season.
Well, that's it, isn't it? That's the story of the season, and that's why I think we're going down. But I mean, before I talk about Bergzorg, James Murgatroyd posted something earlier. Let me put it up again. Let's see if it comes up. There we go. So he said, Radulovic, could be our best Stoke, which I kind of agree with. I never minded Radulovic. I don't think he's particularly fit, but I like, he's got some good touches and he's got some good movement, and his link-up play is decent, and he showed promises. And I still think next season is when we'll see the best of him, when he's had a proper pre-season, got his fitness up to scratch, integrated a bit more, because he's coming from abroad. He's had to settle in. He's not played since, was it October that season finished? So he's had a lot of catching up to do, and obviously you could see his emotion when goal went in. He obviously under pressure, from a personal point of view. He knew his performances haven't been great, and you could see the relief on his face when the goal went in, and I was so pleased for him, and I just hope that's where it can kick off from now. And it's going to be the first of many. But I think next season Radulovic will come good. And Healy's got, he's got that experience. For me, it's just whether he can stay fit for the next 6 games. That's going to be the issue. But we can't start games with no strikers. Again, Coventry, no strikers on pitch, and we're fighting for his lives. When we brought strikers on, we looked more threatening and we offered more. But I cannot believe we must be one of the only sides down there at the bottom not starting a striker. We're trying to win games. I don't understand. I don't understand it. But yeah, he said, do we need Ben Wiles to supply? He's been a bit hot and cold for me. Again, he showed glimpses of what he can do. There's been times I think, there's a player there. He looked really good at Rotherham. He's not kicked on for whatever reason. Again, maybe next season he'll look better. The problem is we need him to do it now, don't we? Not next season. And
I just think, Nick. I just think with Ben Wiles, I think Yeah, I just think we're so defensive. We've been so defensive all season. Ben Wiles needs the ball. He needs the ball to create, right? I like him. I think there is a player there. And those games we've had him starting or playing where we've dominated games, like Sheffield Wednesday at home, didn't he come on and change it for us? He didn't win us the game on his own because Koroma was pretty good as well. But I like Ben Wiles. Radulovic, it's nice to see with him that he's kind of changing his game a little bit. This week, what was important to point out from Monday was he was lightweight every time we've seen him, but Monday you can see he's got his arms out. He's coming deep into like where ACM, your number 10 typically is. And he's got his arms out. He's got his arms out, and then he's using his good footwork just to lay the ball off to the side, and it's really, really good. Healy has got a good goal-scoring record. We know that, but his problem is his injuries. To me, Johnny Ogg, again, I don't think he's the answer anymore in midfield. And I think if you have Ben Wiles in there as a creator with Radoni as the box-to-box and not as the 10, I don't think Radoni's ever going to be a 10. We keep trying to shoehorn him in there, but he doesn't have that ball of Headley had the other day, that inside pass. I don't think Radoni has that. He gets the ball, can drive and shoot and collect and play a pass round. But that little smart, creative assist, I don't think that's his game. He's got a lot to his game that I really, really love. I'm with Sean on it. I think his development curve to the Championship, he's actually speeding up at the moment and he's looking like a real asset to us. But Ben Wiles, to me, next to Radoni, could be the answer. Because what we've tried up until this point hasn't worked, has it? It's not worked. We've not won enough games. So we have to try something new.
At the minute, if you're Brian Writer, it's Wiles or Radoni. You won't go without two number 6s. He's going to play Matos, Hogg.
You could play 2 6s though. You could play 2 6s, and you could go with Wiles, Radoni, and Sorba in behind one of the strikers. But
that's why you can't play with the 5, Tristan. That's why you can't play with the back 5, because you can't do that if you continue with what we.
But I won't play with a 5. I won't play with a 5. I'd in possession. I would drop it into a 3 because, bless him, I think he's been outstanding defensively, but Brodie Spencer in attacking fullback, whereas Jaheim is, and actually quite the opposite of Brodie Spencer. Jaheim is a good player going forward. He proved it with that ball, into Radulovic on Monday. I think play people and let them play in the positions that you're going to get the best out of them. Let Radoni come inside and play with Wiles. Let him play, whether it be Healy, whether it be Radulovic. I think Radulovic and Healy are both smart enough to play with Radoni and with Wiles, and you'll get the best out of them. But if you can allow Jaheim to bomb on, and play with 2 6s or play with a 6 and Kasumu maybe that sits a little bit higher, I think you could actually benefit from that. But I'll go back to, I can't remember who said it. I'll go back to Pat Jones, right? I don't know if you remember as well against Coventry, just before they scored. He got lucky with a ball in the box, and instead of drilling it across the kind of into the mix of players, he drilled it and the keeper just kind of tapped it over the bar, and it looked like, oh, great save, but actually it wasn't. It was dumb, it was, and this sums it up. I think Sean pretty much hit the nail on the head. Too many people are not making good decisions, and that to some extent, you can set them up in a position that gives them half a chance, but when they go out on the pitch, that's on them, and too many of them are taking such poor decisions.
Is that because they're not good enough, Tristan, do you think? Or is that just because they're under pressure, they're not being instructed properly? The professional footballers on Championship wages, so why aren't they making good decisions?
We made decent decisions in first half against Southampton, didn't we? We absolutely wiped floor with them. We wiped floor with West Brom. The ability's there. I don't know, guys. I don't know, to be honest with you.
All day long. Obviously talent as well. You need talent for any sport, don't you? But I think ultimately, when I think the heat is on now, and they're starting to feel it a bit, and when they go into places like Stoke and things like what Bergzorg's doing, I mean that I'm not going to. If you want to chat about it, you can do, because it's probably overcooked. But they are. It's mentality. You've got to stay concentrated. You've got to stay concentrated. You've got to stay in the game, do your job. it's so worrying because, like what you said there, Tristan, like 100% Headley. I mean, the pace he's got, the initiative, and he's so nippy. He's a bit like Bambi on ice sometimes when he goes forward. But I feel with him, it's a little bit risky, and I think probably with Broder Spencer, that's that security policy there, that he is solid defensively and he'll keep things safe. Whereas Headley, he has got a mistake in him where he runs and he doesn't take the ball with him, and someone nicks it off him and they break with us, and that happens quite a bit with him. But I think that's what it is. It's square peg round holes, and we want to see a team, and we don't always see it. I would want to see it, if that makes sense, or does that sound a bit fluffy? We think Radoni and Wiles probably link up really well, but we haven't seen enough of it. And then we've got Healy and I can't pronounce his last name, Rojan, whatever his name is. They haven't got enough time to blossom, so something needs to come together pretty quickly in terms of stability and goals, and whoever that's going to be, I don't know. I mean, I need a crystal ball from one of them seaside shops for that.
For me, the concern is we had 2 weeks break training, so I would expect there to be some partnerships developing, some moves, new moves, people making runs, some understanding developing there. But to me, the midfield, again, there's nobody. The passing isn't great. There's not enough options. The defence, we must have the easiest midfield to play against in the whole league, because we can't pass the ball. And if we get the ball, there's no options to pass it to. And everything's at slow pace. There's no one touch. There's no one making runs, dragging people out wide, creating space. There's nothing. And that's a disappointing thing for me, that with a midfield full of players that run a lot and can put a tackle in, but there's zero creativity, there's zero technical ability, there's next to no passing ability. Most of those midfielders getting final third, they don't know what to do. I mean, we've seen glimpses, Kasumu can hit a ball, but more often than not, it's wide. Radoni, I don't like him anywhere near final third, because he doesn't offer out. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, I like his tenacity, and he does have an ability to overboard, to drive the ball forward, but his decision making in the final third's appalling. His shooting's abysmal. He needs to work on that if he's going to be a championship footballer, to me. We've just not enough players that it's 50% talent, ability, 50% mindset, and unfortunately, I think both those areas are lacking at this moment in time. We've gone from scenarios where we've been the underdog and not expected to win, to games where we either are expected to win or we have to win. And it doesn't look like the players are really taking on that pressure and responsibility. And when we do get chances, we make the wrong decision in that split second. And that's the difference between the teams at the top and at the bottom, isn't it? Bergzorg, the bloke's got 7 goals for us. He's our second top scorer. So if it weren't for his goals, we'd probably be down now. So I know people are slating him, but he offers something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, is he selfish sometimes? Yeah, he is. But some of the best players are. That's how you score goals sometimes, being selfish. I don't think it was as easy as he squares it and he's completely free for the tap-in. There were 2 players close to him. I think if he would have delayed the pass slightly, I think Ely had peeled off slightly. He could have created some space to slide. But I don't think it was as clear cut as, right, if he squares it, it's complete open goal, free to tap in. I think a defender could have still got a leg in and cleared it, but he was never going to score from there, was it?
It's not that, though, Nick. It's not that, right? That was bad. He should have squared it, and I can accept that. What I can't accept, and what I really struggle with, is against Coventry, was he offside 8 times? And he wasn't offside 8 times trying to break the line, right? If you're pushing as a striker, you're fast, right? You wave that ball from your midfield, you're on last man, you're on edge, you're offside. Okay, sometimes defensive lines are good. You shouldn't be offside that much, but I could forgive that. But that's not what fucking happened. What happened was, we're playing against a team that's dominating us, right? Yet when we did turn the ball over quickly and we wanted to counter quickly, he was still just walking back. But this wasn't like we just attacked non-stop and he was walking back. It was like they'd pass it around at the back a little bit. He'd half press, But you don't do it on your own because you're a number 9 and you've got 2 defenders. If you're the 9, you've got 2 defenders. So you can't press full pelt unless you sense that that you've got a chance of getting it. But it was kind of just half pressing. They'd go into our midfield. We'd rarely win it back. Play a ball forward, and he'd be offside again because he just didn't get back in time. And to me, I can't accept it. It drives me mental. It drives me absolutely fucking mental. And I don't know if he was given offside 8 times, but there was a couple more times where he just had to put his hands up and leave it because he were offside. He knew we were offside. We aren't a good enough team to be able to waste counter-attacking opportunities like that. And Bergdorf did it time and time and time again against Coventry. And the first thing he did against Stoke when he came on was the same thing. He got flagged up for offside as soon as he came on. And he hadn't learned. That's not the Bergdorf that were here a few weeks ago. So I just don't get what's happened for him to suddenly put in that performance he did against Coventry, because to me, it was mental. And then, honestly, we're losing. Were it 2-1 when he came off or 2-0 when he came off? We are against time. And how long did he take to get from his position to off the field? He just sauntered off slowly, as if he didn't have a care in the world, as if it was more personal that he were being subbed off because of his performance, and that was more important than us trying to get back into the game using all the time we had left. He just walks off slowly. Yeah. And do you know what? If Town are playing like that, defending like we've done this weekend with Hellick and Thomas, we deserve to go down. I don't give a shit what ability we've got. If that's the kind of decision-making players that we have, like I say, second top goal scorer, he's been really good with the fans. He looks great on Instagram. But then you watch him do that on a field. I really struggle. I really struggle with that. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. Having played all my life at not that level, but a decent level, I've rarely seen that. I've rarely seen somebody do that at amateur level. It was stupid. We needed to chase the game. He'd made a few balls up with the offsides, and then he walks off slowly. I lost for words with it. I were absolutely lost for words with it because I can't remember seeing it before or recently anyway. But you guys might have, but I can't.
Yeah,
that's why he's at Town.
Sorry, Tristan, go on, mate.
It's why he's at Town.
Probably it. But I don't think you're going to see him as a starter now anyway. I think if Bojan and Healy are anywhere near, he'll be an impact sub. That's what he'll be now for the rest of the season. He ain't going to be starting games. I just don't see it.
Fitter, Gaz. Would you say he's fitter than the other two? He's got more legs than him, but like you say, he's not proven to start now, is he?
No, he's not. But there was a period of the season where he was pretty much our only threat. Him and Healy between them won the game for us at Sunderland almost single-handed.
Do you think he's been told he's going? He's not been contracting it. I mean, I'm only speculating that, but it's funny, isn't it, that he were playing great until he got injured against Blackburn, and suddenly, towards the back end of the season, we're seeing half-assed performances. So does he know that he's going to be leaving, and therefore he don't give a toss what happens? Never mind, people are going to lose their jobs if we go down. That doesn't matter because he's on playing, isn't he? Back to wherever. Do you think that's it?
Maybe. Yeah. You might be right.
But in which case, he shouldn't be on pitch, should he?
No, but you never know. In the last 6 games, he might sort of return to a bit of a vein of form and start calming down a little bit and having a bit more composure, and he might start bagging a few goals. You never know. I just worry about the fitness and this time of the season putting so much pressure on the other two lads, to be honest. But I guess we can only work what we've got.
I think with Bergzorg, a lot of it is also, though, we've changed the way we play football. So when he's doing really, really well, we were counter-attacking with 3 up top with him, Thomas and Karoma. And he would just, counter, turn around quick, chase that Bergzorg, pop it in. And he did it, and he did it well. We don't play like that at the moment under Brighton Wrighter. I know he came in saying he wasn't going to change it very much. He changed everything entirely. And now we're not playing to his strengths. And I wonder if that's what's frustrating him, because something's changed, and nobody can tell me otherwise here, but something's changed because his performances, not just physically, ability-wise, but mentally has shifted. And we'll never know why, but to me, it's pretty evident to watch him and see that something's changed. Maybe it's just he's out of form, but to me, I kind of tend to think it could be something more than that. And it's just a shame because he were a real asset, like you say, Gaz. We were there Sunderland together, a nice day out in the snow up there, and he were fantastic. And come the end of the season, of course, he's going to have a big. If we do stay up, it will be on the performances of him earlier in the season. That doesn't change that we need to play him now to the end of the season, though. I think we have to find something else because what he's putting in at the moment, and since Brighton Wright has really joined, isn't kind of what we seem to be working at the moment. And we've got to find another answer somewhere else.
Well, the one thing I do know is we haven't got time for any of these players to play themselves back into form. We just haven't. It's almost we're wittering about performances here, but let's be honest now, performances are irrelevant. We're in a position where the only thing that's going to count in the next 6 weeks, whatever it is results. Because that's, again, going back to Stoke, they obviously won, was it 2 or 3-0 at Preston or something the week on Good Friday? My mate, as a Stoke fan, said they were absolutely dog shit, but they managed to get 3 or 4 good chances and they stuck 2 or 3 away. And that's all we've got to do. We've just got to find a way to win the games, because waiting for people to play themselves back into form of fitness, it's too late for that.
And it's getting harder
Sorry,
and harder. Sorry, mate. No, I was just going to say, Tristan, like, it's getting harder and harder now. Looking at the teams above us, they're starting to get a little bit of a gap now between us and some of the others. It were so tight before, but now, all of a sudden, quite a few results went against us the other day. And yeah, we've got Plymouth and Birmingham in our sights, but draws aren't enough now. We've essentially got 5 games, because forget Ipswich. If they need to get anything for automatic, you can write that game off. We're going to be nowhere near them, especially away from home. So it's essentially 5 games to save the season.
I'm going to question we're needing it, because a few weeks ago when everybody was banging form, we were talking over 50. Don't feel anything like that now.
I still think 3 wins. I think 49 minimum. I do, because I think quite a few of these teams will get results, and I think 49 points to be sure. So we need to find 3 wins out of 6 for me.
I can only pick 2 wins and a draw out of these next 6 games, but yeah, hopefully 3 wins. Yeah. Preston, we never get anything at Preston. I don't think I've ever been there and seen us win.
Oh, we get a good hiding. That's what usually happens, isn't it?
I think anything less than 2 wins and a draw from the next 6 games, we're down. I think 2 wins and a draw might be enough to me. Realistically, I'm aiming at like 2 wins and 2 draws. But this is like I say, grasping at straws here, because over the last 6 games, what have we taken? How many points have we taken over the last 6 games? And we're still expecting to turn it around and bring in.
If you look at the Championship form table for the last 6 games, we're second bottom behind Plymouth. Plymouth have taken 1 point in the last 6. We've taken 3. Rotherham are above us in the form table over the last 6 games. That tells you how poor form we're in. And Birmingham are on Plymouth are on 41 points. They win 2 games, they're on 47, and their goal difference is 11 better than ours. So
we need a miracle. Honestly, we need, from this point forward, a miracle. We need a miracle to stay up. That's the reality.
Getting them points,
situation. No,
Birmingham aren't getting them points. Have you seen the running?
Yeah, but you've got Wednesday. We've only got Wednesday. Only a point behind us and still in good form. You look at Wednesday on the last 6 games, are 16th in the form table, and over the last 10, are 10th. So in the last 10 games, they're 10th in the form table. Wednesday, they're still in decent. They were lucky not to win on Saturday by all accounts.
Wednesday,
here's a question, though. Here's a question, Sean. If we don't win on Saturday against Millwall,
I think we're down.
Is relegation nigh on? Like, is it more or less certain at that point?
Banker if we lose on Saturday. I don't think a draw is good enough.
No.
I don't know. I wouldn't say nailed on relegation if we lose Saturday myself, but maybe that's me just being controversial. But
no, I absolutely agree with you.
What, you agree I'm being controversial? Or?
No, I don't think we're down.
No, I don't think
we're down. I think what you said earlier, Ian. There's 5 out of them 6 games are winnable.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, mate. But how many times have we said that?
We've only won 8 all season.
We've only
my issue with it. My issue here. No. But the thing is, guys, if we don't win this weekend, the pressure builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and every game coming up gets more and more pressure on it. And I just think we're fragile mentally. So I think if we don't manage to win this weekend, because on paper this is the easiest game we have, is it? Oh, we've got Birmingham at home. Is it Birmingham at home we've got?
Yeah.
So between those 2, I think you've got to take 6 points from those games. I think mentally, obviously,
at the start of podcast, it's down to the 3 home games: Birmingham at home, Swansea at home, Millwall at home. Because you think the away fixtures, Preston, who is it? Ipswich and Bristol.
Yeah,
yeah, hard away days.
Problem is, the thing is, if we don't beat Millwall, we've got Preston and Bristol away. Now, both of those, they're rarely happy hunting grounds for us, are they? I can't. I mean, Bristol kind of similar to Preston. Very rarely do we get anything there, and they're always a really funny side, Bristol, where you think, oh, we can beat them, and we never seem to. They're like kind of.
And the pressure builds, Nick. If you don't win this weekend,
we could get maybe a point or lose some more. Then we could lose the next two, and it could all be over.
Well, that's it. And pressure builds.
Those last few
games.
As
soon as the pressure builds, we're not a team that I just don't think we can get past it. The fans will already turn on the backs. The players will fall within themselves. This Saturday has to be positive. It has to be positive. Maybe not a win then. Okay, maybe you can scrape a draw, but you need to have a come from behind or whatever. You need some reason to get into it, because if we don't, 2 tough away games, like you say, Nick, I won't be backing us at that point, and I just wouldn't be. We need to get something positive from this weekend going into the 2 away games that we have next, because they are tough. Because teams around us will win, and you'll find yourself 4 points adrift if not. And then would you be as confident, Tristan, even though you've got those winnable games afterwards? That's the thing. It's that kind of dynamic that's shifting game by game at this point of the season.
Plymouth play Friday night at Rotherham on telly. So we'll go into Saturday knowing what Plymouth have done. Now, although we're all huffing and puffing about Rotherham, they managed to beat Millwall on Saturday, didn't they? So, that's why they're above us in the form table. But Plymouth have got Rotherham away, QPR at home, who are now safe. Leicester, well, you can't see them getting up there. Stoke City, who will be safe. So God knows how that'll go. Millwall and Hull. So they look to have more fixtures on paper. You'd say I can see us getting 3 wins out of that lot, probably more than ours. And then Birmingham have got Leicester at home, Cardiff away, Coventry at home, Rotherham away, us away, and then Norwich at home. So Birmingham fans are probably looking at it and thinking, well, we need to get something out of Cardiff, Rotherham and Huddersfield, because we're not going to go off Coventry, Norwich and Leicester, aren't they? So they're probably in the same frame of mind we are, that they need to take something from 3 out of the 6 games. So it's as tight as you like, but I'm still convinced Saturday will be the turning point. If Plymouth and Birmingham win Saturday and we lose, I think we're down.
Mm-hmm. Where Millwall? They're not far from us, are they? They're like
44.
Where are they in the table, Gaz? They're bottom.
They've got 44 points and they are 19th. So it's us, Plymouth, Birmingham, Millwall. But so they only realistically need 4 points from the last 6 games to be safe.
It's hard, isn't it? Because you want to. I hate being so negative. You want to be positive, and you're right. It's not over till it's over, is it? Like we could conceivably lose the next 3 games, but then go on a run of 3 wins and actually be safe. Like it's not over until it's mathematically over. There's always a chance. But you look at the form, you look at the way we're playing, you look at the mistakes we make game in, game out. We've only won 3 games all year, and we're going to have to win at least 2, possibly 3 to stay up in 6 games. It's a massive shift in results.
What put into, innit, Killer? You're saying it's momentum. You talk about momentum, aren't you, for Saturday?
Yeah, it's the right word, Sean. It's the right word.
Find some.
Yeah. Well, the good news is Millwall are not in great form either. But they've got that nutter back, haven't they? Neil Harris is back in charge, so he'll be in and among them. Fans, the fans will be right behind him now because he's back and one of their own's leading the team. I'm already seeing people saying they want Brighton right now, which I find absolutely unbelievable.
It's not his fault, is it?
Here we go, Ian. This is comes back to my point. They've got Harris back and everyone, and he's fighting for them, and they're fighting. We're destroying Bergzog. We said, we're destroying Radoni. We're destroying Brighton Vita. We've written off the whole team. And Warnock's the Messiah who said that this squad were good enough.
It's frustration, Tristan, and that's all it is, mate. Because it's years. It's years have been at the bottom, and people just it's pride as well in it. People get embarrassed by the fact that we're just getting turned over all the time, and people are angry. Like they're paying money to go and watch them, and more often than not, the performances have been awful, and people just it's just ever since the Premier League, it's just been frustration building, and it isn't personal at certain individuals. I don't think it's just collective frustration that we're seeing bearing out.
It isn't it? But we've had a season of what just feels like error after error after error, which have compounded and taken. Although I didn't quite believe Warnock's tongue in cheek, we should be good enough to make the playoffs now. But with the additions we made in January, we should have been good enough to be safe. That I'm sure of. I'm not saying we should have been playoffs or even mid-table, but I think I said on Twitter really, I don't think this first year for Kevin Nagle could have gone any worse. Every big decision to press has gone against us, hasn't it? Every signing we've made pretty much hasn't delivered. So that's why I think that people are feeling. That's why the club are feeling the pressure.
Yeah, people just start to be reflective, don't they, when things aren't going right? Do you know what I mean? If you're not happy in a job, you're thinking, well, I interviewed for this job and, we're buzzing to start. And then you start looking back at who fucked it up for you. Do you know what I mean? But it's inherent misfortunes. There is some, obviously, poor business decisions, and that's all been spoken about before. But ultimately, Town fans, we all want Town to stay in this division. Yeah. And that's what we want. We don't want to have players reading horrible tweets when they're sat with the family at home, and we don't want footballers to be trolled. And there is some absolute numpties online that hide behind a keyboard and just want to be journalists. I mean, that sounds really sort of hypocritical with me talking.
Sounds like us, yeah, Sean. It sounds like us here, mate. Are you trying to say that's us?
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. We aren't wannabe journalists. We're just genuine Town fans wanting to discuss the present day topics. But there's other people there that just want to be driven on negativity, and it's just not healthy. Ultimately, people need to be up for criticism. They do in all walks of life. But at this moment in time, it has been really hard to be a Town fan recently, and that's all it is really.
I think for me, I'm game for having a conversation with someone. I think it's people don't think about what they tweet or what they say, and they just jump on anything they can, and far too many people just want to be right as well, and want to be proven right, and that's what I struggle with. Is everything's really polarized. There's nothing that's considered. There's nothing that's there's no kind of little ups and downs. It's like massive ups and downs, and that's what gets kind of a bit over the top at times, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody who doesn't want the club to be successful.
No,
a bit counterintuitive, wouldn't it? And hindsight is exacting science. So it's easy for us to sit here and talk about all the terrible decisions, excuse me, that are being made. But fundamentally, the people in charge are the ones that make the decisions. So you can't have it both ways. You can't make all the decisions and have all the responsibility, but none of the accountability. The two don't go together. So, I think I'm with you. We've got to hold people accountable in a constructive way. But, we're debating here because the only reason we've started for last hour waffling about it is because we just want Town to win, don't we? We want them to be successful. Nobody here wants them to get relegated. Apart from me, because I want Nick to change his name to Diakhaby Barlow. So, but everybody else on this podcast definitely wants them to stop up.
Everybody wants. We all want Town to do well. It's just people then different ways, don't they? They show it in different ways. But at the end of the day, we're all on the same page. We all want the club to succeed. We all care about the club. We're sat here on an evening talking about them because we care about the club, and when we will heap praise when it's due, but equally you can't sit here in good faith and say everything's all rosy when it's going to shit, and there's every possibility we're going to get relegated, and the financial implications on the club, and after we've worked so hard to get out of that what is an awful league, you just want the team to succeed and be proud of the team and go and be entertained. And I guess it's James has put we need the fans. Of course we do. We need them this weekend. They can be the 12th man. I guess the issue is that, and the fans at home, they have come under quite a bit of criticism online. The fans for not generating an atmosphere. I guess it's kind of both ways. You need something to cheer in the first place, I guess. But it's right, James, that we can all vent frustration outside the ground, the pubs, and what have you. But at the end of the day, we've all got to get in and show support because you can't do anything else. We've got it. We've got 6 games left to say.
Ian alluded to it earlier on with Brodie Spencer, and you can absolutely hear it in the ground. Ball goes back to the keeper, audibly it's and all of a sudden, heads drop and players drop, and I think it's not good to watch, but we do have to get behind them this weekend and for the rest of the season. It's simple as that.
All you're doing is helping the away team and giving the away fans a laugh when you're booing and jeering the players. It's not doing the player any good. It's not doing the team any good. It's not doing the general atmosphere any good. It's not doing anyone. And I know I get people pay the money. I get that, and they get frustrated. I understand that because God, it's been awful. The spectacle for most of the season, but it's not helping anybody by just shouting and screaming, and some of them really going like proper abusive. Why? It's not doing anyone any fit. That player isn't going to suddenly, oh yeah, nice one, and suddenly start playing amazing football because you're shouting and screaming at them. They need support. Like, the mindset it's a fragile mindset, and no good can come of just shouting and screaming and verbally abusing players all game. We have, like it or not, everyone has to get behind them for the rest of the season, because to be honest, otherwise, what's the worst it could do? Everyone get singing, get behind them. It can only be a good thing, can't it? And if we lose, we lose. I mean, bloody hell, we're used to it, aren't we? We see it nearly every week. So what difference does it make? Just go for it. Just get behind them and sing. No matter what's happening on the pitch, just sing and get behind them. And let's see it to the end and see what happens.
Was it Hull a few weeks ago that came and made a load of noise?
And they were great.
And it was the best I think I've heard in a long time. And right at the end they get a winner and jobs are good. And
yeah,
I think that town come too dependent on Cowshed Loyal as well, and they've done fantastic things for the club, for the atmosphere, for the fan experience, and everyone's got responsibility. I stand up, up in where I sit, and people tell me to sit down, but you get up and sing, and everyone be part of it, because don't be looking over to the Cowshed Loyal to do it for you. Everyone's got to get behind the team, and I know it's hard. God, don't get it wrong. I'm not saying I sing for 90 minutes without stopping. I don't, but we are where we are. We've got to support them in some way, shape, or form, haven't we? Whether that's claps or whether that's songs, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? But it has. We're a poor side, and we're in a bad position. So ultimately, nerves playing part, and I think people are very concentrated on it because there's so much intensity and there's so much riding on it that sometimes you find yourself just glued to the game and not even thinking outside of them parameters of actually singing, because there's so much concentration needed. But yeah, we need to come together.
Well, people have had a go at Cowshed Loyal, aren't they, saying, it's empty and then they're not singing enough, but those people don't sit in there. So the people that are critiquing it probably the ones that aren't singing at all because they're sat in another section at ground. And I just say you don't have to be up on your feet singing for 90 minutes, but you can contribute something to generate a positive atmosphere. I don't think the club do enough to generate an atmosphere pre-match. I will say that it's flat as a pancake, but that's a topic for another time, I think. But I just think that there's so much misery, and everyone's got it in for somebody else rather than just coming together. Everyone's at fault for something, whether it's the players, whether it's Cowshed Loyal for not singing enough, whether it's chairman for not spending enough, or people making the wrong decisions. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter now. We are where we are. We've all got to get as one behind the team. Like in Premier League, we were losing nearly every game there that first season, but we were scrapping to stay up. Everyone got behind them, didn't get their heads down. We still stuck, 12th man, got them over the line. And that's what it. And I know it's not the Premier League, but this is just as important to the club as being, if we go down, the implications on the club financially, what it could do to us are huge. And we've got to show our support. It's supporters. You support them and moan and berate them as much as you want outside of the ground when the game's over, or at half time while you're having your pints or in your pies and what have you. But in the stands, just shouting at players, berating everything is not going to do any good whatsoever. But anyway, enough positivity, guys. Let's move on to something even more positive, which is town accounts. So the accounts for 22-23 published, and surprise, we made a loss, which pretty much like every club in the Championship. it's no surprise really because the parachute payments are stopped, and we although we sold some players, like we don't really sell players for huge money, do we? So it's never really going to be a surprise. I'm not up on, I'm not clever enough to be up on these accounts like Gaz's and Ian is. I'm sure they can provide some depth to this, but to me, there was no real surprises there. I don't know about you guys. There's nothing that rung any alarm bells. And to be honest, we've got a new owner and regime anyway, so I'm not really sure what it really adds to anything. But what do you guys reckon?
It don't really show a lot because, as you say, Nick, those accounts for the club under the previous ownership. I think when we see the next set of accounts, that is going to be interesting because we'll see where, if anywhere, the money we owed Dean has gone. Has it gone? Has it really gone off the balance sheet? Where has it gone? You'll also be able to see what Kevin's had to put in terms of cash. So it don't really tell us a lot because it's always history anyway, and it's, as you say, I think all it confirms really is we've got a small club that don't generate enough revenue, that runs at a loss and trades in the bottom quarter of the championship in terms of revenue and spend. It's not exactly, that wasn't exactly news, I don't think, was it?
I think though, don't it say kind of, and maybe it does, maybe it don't justify, but probably why some of the movements that are happening at the club are happening at this minute in time, because they want to get rid of that mentality that we're a small club where, we can't generate any income. I don't know whether people will buy into the gimmicks and that kind of side of things, but as Nick alluded to before, there is a desire to try and create a little bit of atmosphere before the game and to generate income and to, they have to think outside the box. If you look at the state of where the Giants are at the minute, with the whole kind of point system that there is in rugby league these days, the Giants may well not be a may well not be a Super League team, and that's in a town that's meant to be a rugby town. So I think yeah, obviously when we got to the Premier League, we generated some money off the back of people wanting to come and watch decent football, but I think we've got to think outside of the box. Some of the figures do add a little bit of context to stuff. The average wage was 10 grand, which is like well below average. I think it was about 13 or 14 grand, it said. And it said there were 9 million in player sales. I can't think for the life of me who that was, whether there's still money from billing or someone, I don't know. But
O'Brien and Toffolo.
Of course, yeah. So it does show. It does also just kind of hammer home that point that we have to bring some of these players through, and actually the move back towards an academy potentially is the right approach. So I think it does give us an idea of why certain decisions are being made.
Yeah, nothing really jumped out, did it? I think Kevin Nagel, did he take over the club 7 days before the end of this accounting period? I think that's
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no real relevance there. It's clear that we struggle to bring in enough income to compete at the top half of the championship when you compare what we can bring into other clubs. I think we're going to go on to season card prices after this, which I think links well to the accounts. But like there, Tristan, what stuck out to me, apart from the loans to Dean Oil and whatnot, because I think this from 2019, so it must have been something to do with the Hodgkinson takeover. It's hard with the accounts because it gives you some sort of a snapshot, but it doesn't give you depth. You kind of have to guess a little bit, and it's not right for us to kind of guess what that is. But what stuck out to me there, Tristan, you said 10,000 a week's our average wage, right? We've got 16,000 season ticket holders, I think, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. And we've got 194 people listening live here, right? So Kevin might be one of them. And Kevin, I'm sorry if I've got this incorrect, but there's 16,000 season ticket holders and 10,000 a week for our average player salary. We'd have to increase our season cards by £32.50 per seat to pay for one extra player. seems a lot, doesn't it? It shows me, looking at the accounts, that season card prices, whilst they are very important, of course, to the income of the club, it's not like you have to increase it an awful lot to make a massive difference to the quality of the money and the amount of money you can spend on the playing squad. Because if 10 grand a week's our average, we can just bring one extra average player in if we all pay £32.50 extra on our season cards. And that kind of, it's important to tie the season card stuff and the accounts together at the same time. I find it very difficult to split them. But there was very little there that jumped out to me as a warning or as anything positive, because we just don't know. Kevin Nagel's taken it over, and we've had Dean Hall accounts for years and years and years and years. We kind of know how we wanted to run the club. And it was a year of transition. Obviously, he was looking to sell the club, and he managed to in the end to Kevin Nagel. And I think, like you say, Gaz, the next set of accounts will tell us a lot more. What also jumped out, though, is we're paying an awful lot of money to previous managers. Was it $500,000 on the accounts, I think? Again, I might be wrong. I think it was about that, and I'm not entirely sure that includes the most recent. I think that might have been Fotheringham gone in that season. Is that what it was? So it's quite a lot of money to spend on former bosses, and which we've done again since then with Darren Moore and Neil Warnock. So there's things to learn. It'd be important to have a coach in place that's going to be there for quite a while, so you don't have to spend that money on lost coaches. But there was very little else that'll stick out, and next year we'll have a little bit more to be able to dive into.
Well, let's get into it then. Season ticket prices, because it's a bit of a hot topic at the moment. With nothing come out yet, but people are speculating as to what's going to happen. We're thinking that there's going to be an increase. Guys, I mean, there's some people saying that they should be the same, because who knows, what league we're in. I mean, we're hoping for the best that we're going to stay up, but who knows? I guess if we get relegated, suddenly the income, the surrounding income from TV money, etc., drops. So season ticket prices become a bit more important. And if you look at the average season ticket prices in League One and the Championship, you would say probably 350 to 400 is probably average. So at the moment, our season ticket prices are very cheap, and they have been cheap for a long time. Does that mean they should stay like that? Some fans are saying, I come up, it's fine. Others are saying cost of living, etc. There's a risk that we're going to lose quite a lot of fans here, particularly considering performances on the pitch. So I want to know where you guys stand on this really before they come out. For me personally, I don't mind an increase, because just basically judging on the average for other clubs in this division, looking at them, I personally would say probably 350 is more than fair for Championship football. But what do you guys reckon?
Yeah, well, I've already voiced my opinion on this. I think it was inevitable, right? And in fairness to Kevin Nagel, he never hid the fact that we were going to see an increase in prices. I think trying to do it on the tail end of a piss poor season, it just stinks of the softest target. So, well, they're going to fucking pay it anyway. So let's just put it up, and let's make it more complicated by introducing zoning. They talk about devaluing the product. Well, there's, you want to talk about valuations. There's a reason people pay more money for a Rolls Royce than they do a Mini Metro, right? Because you get a difference of quality and return when you buy a Rolls Royce than you do in Mini Metro, right? So I don't mind paying more money, but I don't like being accused of having devalued the product by buying a season ticket and then choosing whether I do or don't go or not, right? They talk about 4,000 fans that don't turn up to games because the season tickets are too cheap. Okay, so would you rather have 4,000 less season ticket holders who just don't turn up under that logic? The club have done absolutely nothing about enabling season ticket holders who aren't going to repatriate those tickets. Right? I would quite happily give my tickets away for free to a town fan who can't afford to go. And I don't go to every home game. My son doesn't go to every home game. He lives in Ipswich, so he isn't going to go to every home game, is he? I would happily repatriate those seats to an individual or a family or somebody who needed them. The club have done fuck all about that. They could have even sold them for a £5 and kept the £5 for me. I'd have been happy to do that. So that irked me slightly, that they basically implied we've been taking advantage of the club for far too long, and it's about time that we start to pay some of that benefit back. So that irked me slightly. And my question really is, so if they get an increase, I'm in the fortunate minority, right? I can afford it. So if it goes up 50 quid, £100 for me and Connor, I can afford it. Right now, but there are genuinely some people who are going to have to make a choice now in their life about, can I afford to renew this season ticket? I'm fortunate. I work, my wife works, so we have but there are genuinely people who are going to have to say, can I afford this? Right. So before they dismiss increases of £50 as nothing, which the club seem to be doing, £50's a lot of money. And it will make a difference between whether people can or can't afford it. It will also then make a difference to some people who can afford it, but don't want to pay it. So if I give them a £50 increase on my £300 season ticket, is what's that? It's 1/6, isn't it? I don't know what that is as a percentage. Ian will know. He's a maths genius. But it's a 1/6 increase. And what guarantee am I getting that I'm going to get a better return for that next year? Because let's be honest, this year's been a shit show. And the year before has been a shit show. So,
sorry. No, it's fine. No, timing's not great, is it? I think that totally take on board what you said there, Gaz. There's a lot of fair points. I think that really, if you look at like the forecasts of the last 7 seasons, I think in comparison to the club, been very, very fortunate to have season cards priced the way they are, and good things don't last forever, do they? And I think we probably all saw it coming at some point, but hopefully not a season like this. So I'm conflicted on it, to be honest. I'm just going to be...
I don't like how it's been done, though, Sean. The tone of what was portrayed, how it's been portrayed, that's what I don't like about it. The fact that...
Well, it's wrong. It's wrong, guys. The way you've described that there, if the clubs come out in that way, is wrong, because it's an actual fiscal or financial strategy to go with the cheap season tickets. This isn't an altruistic thing that the club have done over the last 10 years. Dino thought it was best for the club to do it that way. It wasn't just because it made us feel better. I think the direct quote from him, and I think this is it, so I'm not saying it's a direct quote, his vibes were lower pricing, higher volume, decent revenues, great atmosphere and positive vibes. And now when you've got cheaper season tickets, you've got more people in the stadium. And when you get more people in the stadium, your commercials go up because you've got more people buying more things, right? You can say it's devalued the ticket, whatever. I disagree with that as well. I'm with you guys on that. The thing is, I know a lot of people at the game at the weekend who didn't go. Like my mate lives in Tashkent in Uzbekistan. Matt, who's been on here a few times before, he's got a season ticket still because it's affordable for him. If the club are coming out saying 4,000 people are turning up each week, my response isn't to put season ticket prices up so they don't bother. And that's kind of not what they've said. But like it's like, oh, hang on, we've got 4,000 people not turning up. We need to make it worth their while to turn up, right? There's no halftime entertainment. The coffee's a fucking joke. And these sound like very small problems, right? But the event, the match day atmosphere, the match day event itself, the fan zone has been an improvement. I quite like it going there, catching a bit on TV. In winter, it's not going to be as nice. They are trying to understand it with a North Stand, and these things take a long time to grow. But like you say, guys, you get nothing extra for it. You get no value for it. I can stomach an inflation rise because obviously the cost of everything else has gone up excessively over the last year, and so of course there's going to be an increase. And if it's 10%, 15%, I can stomach that. I can't remember, Nick, if I'm talking to you, whatever it is, but I'd be going with an inflation-linked rise, and I'd be looking at, if you're in the Championship, a 5% rise. The club have said from the minutes taken at the HSA side of the ATT meeting is that they want to get to a Championship average season ticket price in 5 years. And I'm all for a gradual approach. But when you're going to bring zoning back into it, that's quite a big difference, isn't it, I think? Guys, you sit in the posh seats with the posh people having your prawn sandwiches that you bring in and your cup of tea with little finger raised. So you sit in the expensive seats and you're at seats will probably, luckily you can afford it, giving it the bigger no. But luckily you can afford it because you're going to have to pay more than everybody else if they rezone, because historically they are the most expensive season tickets in the stadium. And I just think it's a dangerous approach. You can argue the ethical side of it in that, oh, well, you're devaluing it, so we should put the price up. Okay, maybe that's correct. But what you have to understand is town fans have been conditioned to cheap season tickets. So regardless of whether you think it's the right thing to do business-wise or not, that doesn't mean town fans are going to stomach it. Maybe they should stomach it if they want Championship football. But you're the custodian of the football club. It's your job to make sure this football club can be as successful as it can be. And it's our job as fans. And okay, we're 5 idiots on here. Maybe we're not all idiots, but most of us, some of us are. We're not experts in this.
No, we are.
Yeah. But, all right, okay. But these people on here reconsider, like, reconsidering whether they would get a season ticket based on a season ticket rise. I don't give a shit what Ipswich pay or what Sunderland pay. I don't care. It's not really relevant to me. And I think other people think the same thing. We're used to cheap season tickets. So to change it's going to be a big shock to certain people. And when people are already turning up and you're suggesting you're going to raise prices significantly, there's going to be a bit of a backlash. And I'm not entirely convinced the club are expecting the elasticity of demand. I don't think they're going to expect it to be what I expect it to be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they put the prices up. Fewer people don't buy season tickets that I expect, and we're in a financially better situation because of it. But I'm worried. I am worried because with so many people not turning up and the general vibes around the club year after year struggling against relegation, it's going to be hard. And now I think Dave Carmichael's on Down at the Mac, isn't he? Is it Justice Smithers? Is that his username on there?
Yeah.
And now this is something that he's written. So he's Kevin Nagle's advisor? Is that his correct term?
Henchman.
He quoted this. I'll quote this because I think this is really important. If town fans have missed this, this is important. This is somebody who's important to Kevin Nagle. He said this: I cannot stress enough that the things like season ticket pricing is not my corner of the store. I have zero input on that whatsoever. It's way above my pay grade. But after reading these last few pages, let me pose a question as a radio host rather than the other guy. Would you rather pay a decent increase? I hesitate to put a number on this because I don't want anyone taking that as some sort of thing being thrown around. So I'll pick what somebody said earlier. Let's say 30% and have a team threatening to promote, or same prices and fighting relegation. Now, if that's the mindset of all the club, I just think it's going to be taken very differently to I think the Yorkshire market's different. I think actually what we're spending does matter more to us than maybe it would elsewhere. And I just hope the club kind of feel how the fans are going to take it right before going out with these potential prices. I just hope they get it right, because if they don't, there's going to be a lot of people not there next season compared to this season.
Well, can I just say, sorry, I appreciate I'm hogging this one, but just one more thing. I think what will happen is I think you'll see a decline this year, and I think people like me will huff and puff, and then we'll pay it, and then I'll go to somebody. But if next year the performances don't improve, Dave Carmichael talking about being a top third team, if we're struggling for relegation next year, the season after, the season card volume is going to absolutely plummet, because people will stomach it for a year on the basis of, all right, Kev never made a secret who's going to put it up. We accept we've got to pay our part of the increase, pay our part of the money they need to improve the squad. Here's me dosh, crack on. But if you take that dosh and don't deliver it, then the people who are fence sitters are absolutely going to drop off the season after.
I think for me, and I do agree with Sean to some extent. I'm going to complete. It's an unenviable position in it for someone to have to make these decisions, because I work in events, right? Your security, the minimum wage is going up. Your catering staff minimum wage is going up. All these costs are going up. Yet they're not getting anything else in. If they all of a sudden then cut the number of staff that are in there, we don't get good service behind bars. We don't get, they have to follow green guides for managing the stadium with the security and stuff like that. So then you shut stands, and then within the stadium, it's, we saw at Ellen Road, they shut that West Stand for years, the top tier of that West Stand, and it just looks, it doesn't, there's not a good vibe in the stadium, is there? So it really is an unenviable position. I guess the danger with it, and I'm going to go completely off topic here, but if you go and watch Taylor Swift, you're paying 250 quid. She might come on and had a drink, or you don't know whether you're going to get a good performance from her, but you pay that money, and I guess that is what sport's about, isn't it? You pay the money, and you can't guarantee it. You can't guarantee that it will be good. You can't guarantee that they're gonna be at the top. And I think sometimes we do think that we're owed something to some extent, and actually, that's on people. If people want to take that risk and go and watch a poor game of football, then so be it. I think probably alluding to what Ian said, though, I guess the minimum that we do expect is that the players graft, and that's probably the Yorkshire factor within it. Is if we go to the game, we don't like we've talked for the last hour. We do expect someone like Bergzog to go and give 100% on the pitch, and if he goes and gives that, then we come away and we felt like we've got value for money. I don't think it's as cut and thrust as whether they're getting results and stuff like that. I think that always helps. But if you feel like you've got a team, Johnny Worthington, everyone was willing to get behind him because he wore his heart on his sleeve, and you knew that what you were going to get from him. So it is an unenviable position. Every bit of cost is going up. I did expect there to be price rises. It's not an easy one, and I think probably that possibly is why the zoning is coming back in, to try and give different people of different financial backgrounds the ability to go and watch the game in kind of whatever area they're able to afford to pay.
I think it's going up. If the inevitable is that the price is going to go up, let it rise. But in layman's terms, don't take the piss, because you've got to read the room at the minute. And Huddersfield Town are sometimes not great with their PR angles and how they deliver messages, and how they pitch new initiatives. And 350 probably. I don't know. You think if it went up to like 400 or 450 or something like that, I just feel like that it would probably be too costly for the demographics of our town, to be honest. Just being honest with what's going on at the minute. I work in youth work and I work in communities, and I know how much people are struggling, and you've just got to keep it at a level that's affordable for people. And I do like what they've done this season with getting the youngsters. My lads, Ormfirth Town juniors, were on the pitch, and we need new young fans as well. That's probably a topic for another day, but we need young fans coming through. We were probably all taken by our dads or by a significant other, but I think that needs more attention. Alongside the academy, there's going to have to be significant changes, and I agree with Killer that the season card prices aren't the be all and end all in terms of players and revenue and us becoming a competitive club. It doesn't stop and start with the season cards. So yes, if it's going to help a little bit financially, I understand that, but just make it affordable.
I do agree with Gaz though, in the sense of if they're gonna say that there's 4,000 not turning up every week, make it easier to transfer. You've got to 100%. I mean, we ended up going this week, but one of my mates said to me, it's Easter, have you got a spare ticket? If I hadn't been able to go to that, it's so difficult to be able to transfer that ticket, to the point where they're actually wanting to benefit from that. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Well, I didn't think about that, Gaz, to be fair, about like the reselling of tickets and
If you find out you're giving your season ticket away or resell it, it's one of the conditions. They can take it off you.
Yeah.
If you give somebody your season ticket, they can take it off you.
But it's a good point in terms of we're not doing that, because that's why are we talking about that? Why not? They're not thinking about that. It's a good point.
Well, I hope they're listening to this, because I agree 1,000%. It's exactly the same for me. I share a season ticket with my dad because my mum and my dad go, and I can't get to the same number of games as I used to. I'm not in the area, and with work and everything else, I've got a young family, I don't have time. So I kind of split it between me and my dad. But if I've got a card and my mum's got one, but if I wanted to go with my dad, I can't, because, like I say, it's in my mum's name, can't swap it. So that's just it's just, they really need to make it easy for people, don't they? There's no point complaining and not making it easier to swap a ticket. Like, if you've paid for that ticket, they've already received the money for that ticket. So you you should be able to give that ticket to somebody else. You've bought that ticket, so you should be able to allow somebody else to go in that ticket because it's already paid for. And I really, I think they need to explain what the issue is, because that's why there's so many empty seats.
There's software out there as well, that online that makes that so easy. And as Gaz said, if they are so bothered about it, charge a £5, and make a bit of money on it.
I mean, at the very least, they might buy a program, they might buy a coffee while they're in the ground and spend some money instead of the seat sitting empty and people looking at the TV and going, well, there ain't 20,000 in there, is there?
Yeah.
But anyway.
I think to round it up, my votes, like, quality always sells. And if the team's doing well, you can justify a price hike. At the moment, I think they're overpriced because the performance on the pitch are abysmal. People will pay for entertained. Now, I agree with Gaz that, some people are lucky enough to be able to afford an increase by 50 quid, 100 quid. Some people aren't so lucky. And, I would hope that if they do raise it, there'll be initiatives around, around the schools, as you said, but also for people that are struggling. I don't know how, but there should be more charity work to provide people with opportunity for tickets. If that's what they're going to do, they need to do that for the community, because you don't want those people missing out, because that's not fair. But if the quality's there on the pitch and the entertainment pre-match, during the game, because to be honest, I still think there's a lot of work to be done there. If there's more entertainment and it's more of an experience, a day's experience, I think people would over time accept it. But we've been conditioned for so long with this set price, makes it very, very difficult then to change mindset. I just look at it from a view that I'm looking at what other clubs are charging. Even in League One, it's very, very cheap by comparison. So I think I personally don't have an issue with it. But as I said, Gaz, if like Gaz has said, if people then pay it and then see an utter dross season again and we're struggling near the bottom, then that's it, innit? It's I know you can't guarantee success, but I think people would even be happy with mid-table. Do you know what I mean? As long as you saw progress and you saw some passion and some fight on the pitch and something like what we saw under Warnock towards the back end of that season, what we saw under Worthy, people come together and that generates more atmosphere, and it's a kind of a spiral. It's kind of a spiraling effect. But anyway, time will tell. But yeah, there's food for thought there anyway, isn't there? I'll just we'll wait to see what happens, what comes out of the club, but it can't be too long now. Let's just hope we're in the right division. To wrap up very, very quickly, guys, we've got Millwall on the horizon. Shall we have some predictions for it? Dare we predict what might happen?
3-0 Town.
Oh, Gaz.
What you been drinking tonight, Gaz? Where's that come from? After
20 minutes ago. Look at me now.
Right, 1-1. I'll go 1-1.
I think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a horrible performance, but I think we're going to win. I think we're just going to find something to give us some forlorn hope that Nick's going to have to change his name by Deep Paul. That's all I want.
I'm too confident. You know what? I've told you, I don't post these tweets unless I'm ultra confident. You know that. Yeah. So I just see. Look, I would love nothing more than to do with Diakhaby, Barlow, or whatever. I just look at it from a statistic point of view and a performance point of view, and I think Millwall will shove everyone behind ball. They'll say, right, come on then, break us down, because we're already 4 points clear? 4 points clear? 4 points clear at drop zone. A point's fine for us. We'll shove everyone behind ball. You break us down. We can't, because we haven't got the quality. 1-1. Yeah,
I'm with you, Nick. 1-1, because I think we've scored in every game since January. I think we've scored every game for quite a while. We normally do score, but we also concede. So 1-0. I'll go 1-0 as well, and we'll be here again next week, giving it the old wish it, we're down, wave the white flag. But yeah, I can't see us winning this one. Pressure game, like you say, Millwall will sit. Both those things will go against us. 1-0.
Yeah, I said 1-0 in my head, sort of 2 days ago. So
come on, Tris, bail me out, Tris. Come on.
1-0 Town, last minute winner.
Hey.
Brilliant.
Right, guys. Look, it's been a bit of a negative podcast, but what can you do? The position we're in. I hope it's more positive after Millwall. It's just yeah, it's just all a bit doom and gloom at the moment, isn't it, everyone? But let's hope that we pull it out of the bag, and then we've got some positivity going into that Preston game. Right, guys, Ian, Tristan, Sean, thank you so much, guys. Thank you all for listening and for your comments, and we'll be back after. We'll be back after Millwall, or I think do we then play Preston on the Tuesday? So we'll try and we'll get on after Millwall and dissect it, and hopefully talk about an amazing 3-0 win. Saying Gaz was right, and 3 points. Right,
It's
everyone.
I'm wrong, Nick.
What's that?
It's not often I'm wrong, mate. To be fair.
Yeah,
Oh, he said no. Let's get it right. He said a horrendous performance, yet a 3-0 win. That's what Gaz is going for.
My exact words. Those are my exact words. You say, "He'll be prepared to die on Mr. Kilroy."
Right, everyone. Take care. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Ta-ra.